frankly, I don't need the title, because I could be called general, I understand, for the rest of my life. I've been and I don't need the money, and I don't need the office space. So I would just, I mean, frank as it is, and maybe it's difficult to understand in the state of New York, I'd like to just be a good United States Senator. I'd like to serve.
Mr. Kennedy, just how extensive is your moral commitment to civil rights in New York State?
Well, I've been involved in this struggle now for 3.5 years. I think I've indicated how I feel about it all over the country and the efforts that I've made. And I think that a good deal more can be done elsewhere. In my judgment, the answer as far as the state of New York is concerned now rests with education, and it rests with employment, and it rests with decent housing, and it rests with proper recreation facilities, and it rests basically in giving our young people some hope. Now, let me just say that, for instance, there's 26.5% of the young Negroes in the city of New York who are out of school and out of work. The Negro child going to many of the schools in Harlem between the 3rd grade and the 6th grade loses 10 points on his IQ. By the time he gets to the 8th grade, he's already 2 years behind white students. The dropout rate amongst Negroes in some of these areas where the schooling is not as good as in white areas, the dropout rate sometimes goes up to 75 or 80%. I think, therefore, we have to have a major effort in the field of education. The education effort must start with children who are 3 years old and 4 years old, because many of these children come from broken homes. They come from parents who are illiterate. They never hear an intelligent conversation at home. They never have anybody read them a book. So by the time even that they start in the 1st grade, they are culturally deprived. I think that's what we tried to do in the HARU and ACT effort here in the city of New York, focusing attention on the fact that these children, even at that young age, need attention and need help. Then if they're bringing homework back at the 2nd or 3rd grade and nobody's there to make them do their homework. You know, I've seen my own children, and if you don't make them do their homework, then they don't do their homework. And if nobody knows how to read in their home, a third to a half of the homes that these children come from are broken homes. And a high percentage of their one parent that stays with them is illiterate. So they're never going to get any homework done. Nobody's going to. So I think we have to set up special efforts to make sure there's places for them to study, because the housing is insufficient, overcrowded and substandard. And I think that we have to have special counselors, and I think we have to make a special effort for reading, to make sure that they continue reading, because that's the key. And then I think also we have to do more as far as employment. We have almost 500,000 people who are unemployed here in the state of New York. Twice as many, percentage-wise, Negroes are unemployed as whites. Some areas of the state of New York, it goes up to 3 and 3.5 times as many. I think, therefore, what we can do as far as bringing new jobs and keeping industry here in the state is going to be terribly important. We're going to have to find here in the city of New York alone 650,000 new jobs by 1970. We're going to have to find 1 million jobs in the state of New York by 1970. Where they're going to come from. We're going to have employment for those who are educated and those who are trained, but those who are illiterate and uneducated, they're the ones that are going to have difficulty. So that's where I think we have to make the effort. Let me just say, I run for the United States Senate because I think it's such an important position, because I want to play a role. And I saw over the period of the last 3.5 years, and I say this to you, some of you who support my candidacy and some who do not, more in a nonpartisan way, that I saw in the last 3.5 years really what a difference an individual can make. And if I saw anything or learned anything, it was really that. And I think particularly those who are educated, and those of you, such as yourselves, those of you who took the effort to come here tonight are interested in politics, are interested in government. I think to continue that interest after you leave college is absolutely essential if we're going to have success in this country and success in this state and success in the world. And I saw it whether it be in the Peace Corps, I saw it with people that headed up agencies and departments. The fact that they showed some initiative, or showed some imagination, or were willing to go out into areas that had never been attacked before. That's what made the difference in the government over the period in the last 3.5 years. It's not that we made the problems disappear, but it was that kind of an effort. And I think that that's what we need in the United States over the period of the next 10 years. As President Kennedy said, we have the capacity to make this the best generation in the history of mankind, or make it the last. I think that we can make it the best generation. But I think really it's going to rest with those who are educated, those people who are trained, whether they are going to participate, or whether they're going to say this is the problem or responsibility of somebody else. That's why I think that all of you have had the advantage of an education here, just as I've had the advantage of an education, that we have a special and particular responsibility. When we look and analyze where our government came from, or our system of government, where it originated, we think back to the Greeks and what their idea really was of participation, and what Pericles said in his funeral oration, that we differ from other states in that we regard the individual who holds himself aloof from public affairs as being useless, and yet we yield to no one in our independence of spirit and complete self-reliance. I think that's what has to guide us. And the Greeks, the word idiot, coming from that individual who didn't participate, who wasn't actively involved. President Kennedy's favorite quote was really from Dante, that the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in time of moral crisis preserve their neutrality. So if all of us, whether it's in the field of civil rights or housing, or whether it's in Vietnam or whatever it is, just hang back and say this is a problem of somebody else. If we're going to permit what's going on in Harlem now, of those young children grow up uneducated and untrained and dissatisfied with life and dissatisfied with their future and feeling that there is nothing in this system, then we're going to be in difficulty. Even if we look at this selfishly, we're going to be in difficulty. The whole system's going to be in difficulty. Sophocles said one time, well, what joy is there in the day that follows day, some swift, some slow, with death the only goal. And really that's what many of our fellow citizens, whether they're in Appalachia or whether they're in Harlem, or whether they're the white children that live in some of these other areas where there's no future, or even our elderly people over the age of 65 who feel that there's not any future for them, that all they're going to do is die and get sick and have to take a pauper's oath. These, I think, are our responsibilities. These are your responsibilities, just as they are mine. Now, I hope that I win as a United States Senator, but even if I don't, I think that for all of us, that we have an obligation. We have a responsibility. If we don't do it, then nobody's going to do it. And if educated people don't do it, then nobody's going to do it. The people that are going to make the difference for this country and for the world are educated people. And we have a special, not only responsibility, but a special opportunity to make a difference in the world and make a difference for this country. And that's really what I come to say to you. I think of what Archimedes said, and perhaps it's a little explaining the lever. And he said, show me where I can stand and I can move the world. And I think that we can. I think that we started it 3.5 years ago, and I think we can continue it. And I don't think it's just a question of political belief, but I think that we can make a difference. And so, thank you. I'm going to remain on as a United States Senator representing the state of New York, and I'm going to support the Democratic ticket in 1968 of President Johnson Hubert Humphrey. Boo! How about President Johnson and me? What about it? What are you trying to start a fight or something? Look, I said that in the past that I thought it was possible to have a coalition government in Saigon, but that doesn't mean it's possible here in the United States.
I happen to have some differences of some importance with the administration in connection with Vietnam.
There will be some nervous Nellies, and some who will become frustrated and bothered and break ranks under the strain. And some will turn on their leaders and on their country and on our own fighting men.
I'm, at the moment, reassessing what I should do as not only as a member of the Democratic Party, but more importantly as a United States citizen.
I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.